we had in the past 2 years. And actually, I looked up the definition of challenge to set myself up for when we talk about challenges, what is it? Except for the pandemic, because everybody had challenging time back then. And it calls about competitions, dual combats, defy boldly, but there is nothing very specific to women. It's just universal, right? Everybody is being challenged. I found myself as a woman being challenged by being a woman quite a few times. And I will take you on a small personal journey with two little stories and lessons learned from them, which helped me tremendously to get to where I am. And it's kind of those stories which, I wish somebody have told me when I was 25 and I was just about to begin my career. And it would go beyond that, like, don't worry, you'll be all right. So, just a little bit about me. You've heard it all. I'm currently leading analytics at GSG, but I am an astrophysicist by trade. And just to give you like a context of this journey, I started as an astrophysicist, right? Or as a physicist at the university level. We were at 33% being women. So that means when I graduated my master's, 3 women out of 10 men, out of 10 of us. So 33%. When I was admitted into my PhD, I got a scholarship, and the scholarship was offered to 2 women and 4 men. So again, we are at 33%. However, when I did the transition, so I transitioned from science via a program called Science to Data Science. I have joined the first company, and I realized that I am the second woman joining a team in a big team of 20 people. So realistically, we were 10% women in that one team, which is not very encouraging. However, when I was leaving that company, we were 50-50. So we were at 50%, which was pretty amazing because that makes me pause and think something must have happened during those 5 years when I was at the company, and women actually started to, so to say, own the field a little bit more. Women somehow got more encouragement, somehow were like more sure of themselves and say like, okay, I can do this. It's not only for men. And I'm proud to announce that currently the team I'm leading is 75% women, which is pretty impressive. So guys have definitely something to catch up to. So let's see how they go with that. Just a little bit about the GSG. Maybe that's the part of that. Why we are so good with attracting women. We are empowering people to do better purchases, better decisions. And in the end, we can relate to that because actually most of the spending in households are done by women, statistically, more than 70%. So maybe we are aligned there. But I want to believe that we are creating a really, really good space in GSG. And we are actually very attractive as a very inclusive environment. So just a little bit about GSG. So without much further ado, I'll take you to my first little story, which comes from academia, right? You see all those pictures every time when you see like adverts for join us at the university, join the science lab, join this and that. And everybody looks very inquisitive on those. Very often you see women in those pictures, and it's not incorrect, right? I'm a proof of women joining labs and women working in science. However, the story I want to share with you is a little bit shocking in the instance of what I have experienced in my first year. We were in a lab, first years, everybody messes up. Like literally everybody messes up. Like there is no person who does it right at the first instance. And a colleague of mine, also a woman, she messed up at connecting something. And the teacher literally looked at her and said, like, maybe cooking is more your forte, out loud in front of the whole classroom, which is pretty appalling. What would you do in a modern world? Well, you would try to complain to someone. The problem is the institute was quite small. So whomever you would run to complain to, it ends up at the head of institute, who was also a man who was really happy to do sexist jokes. So nobody ever complained. We couldn't stand behind her because we felt like we were going to be targeted. And we all just, so to say, sucked it up. And we just listened to him kind of telling her off, which is pretty depressing, to be honest. Myself, I was a target of just minor incidents like that. They were not every day, definitely, but they were pretty daunting. Like it was not really encouraging. So what we ended up with is called the imposter syndrome. And you've heard about it probably before. It's very present in academia. And the term was used first time in 80s. So it's not that old. And all those little incidents, watching women being just downplayed, watching women being told to just go cooking instead, all that attributed to that. And one thing which I would like to highlight in this picture is the imposter syndrome here is referring to two stories, two examples. It's again taken from a dictionary, and both examples relate to women. I am not saying that women are the only ones suffering from imposter syndrome, but it definitely is more prevalent in women, and we have to deal with that more often because we were more often told that we can't achieve that. Um, did I have the imposter syndrome? Of course I did, because I was a woman in academia. I wanted to go from academia to industry, and I have believed I am underqualified and I can't ever get a job. It turned out not to be true, and that goes to the first lesson I had. I was told that I'm not good in something all the time. Shouldn't be good because I'm a woman, and I should be doing something else. And people were always telling me like, "Hey, um, you're talking to people, you're extroverted, like you should be communicating with people, you should be doing this and this." You know what, in the end I kind of accepted that. So but I didn't give up on being good in something technical. I kept it, I just didn't highlight it. But in the end I embraced what they told me that I should be good in, and that means that I was suddenly good in two things. The one thing they expected me to be good at, and the second thing they didn't expect me to be good at. And, they forgot about that part. And you can come back with that. Just make sure you don't forget the part where you are actually good in something. And it might be not perceived as such by the others, but you are. Second story is a little bit more cheerful. Admittedly, the academia stories are never very encouraging. So second story comes to the challenge which I willingly exposed to myself. In my intro, we're mentioning that I enjoy mountaineering. I enjoy the Alps, which is pretty challenging, and admittedly, it's quite a male-dominated sport as well. And let me share a story from the latest expedition I did, which was in Greenland. So in March, we decided to do a crossing of Arctic Circle Trail, which is a 160-kilometer wild trail in Greenland. And we did it when the temperatures were on average minus 20. There is no facilities, there is no connection, there is no reception. Um, Everything you carry is on the sled, which you might be able to see behind me in the picture. It was 10 people. Out of the 10 people, I was the only woman. And you are pulling the sled. Just to give you a comparison, the sled is 35 kilos. That's more than half of my weight. And I was just like, I'm tough, right? I can do this. There's no reason I should not be doing this. I don't want to be the one bringing the group back. Like, I don't want to be slowing us down. And you know what? Like, it's okay. Sometimes it's okay. So literally, I got into these stages where this was me, roughly minus 35 degrees. You can see my eyelashes being absolutely frozen. My jacket was frozen from inside. And that was just minutes before my nose got the first frostbite. And at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I already carry 35 kilos on the sled. It's fine to ask for help, which kind of brings me to the lesson two, which I believe is very, very important. And I think it's a little bit easier for me as a woman to embrace it. I rarely saw men doing that. So I feel it's a little bit of a woman's superpower. So it is totally okay to not have the same strength. And asking for help at the right time will ultimately help you out, because the only person you're hurting if you're not asking for any sort of help or any sort of support is ultimately yourself. And you are not able to get further just because you didn't ask. And it's fine. I have strength somewhere else. I was the person able to cheer up the whole group in the evening because I'm chatty. and they were not able to do that. So reach to your unique strength and don't be afraid to ask for help. That's absolutely fine. So that kind of brings me to the little conclusion of really what I'm talking about, which is the leadership from hardship. So I can't say the path to achieve something is easy ever, right? Especially as a woman, the challenges presented is like people not trusting you, people not believing that you can make it, people not believe that you have the right skills. But ultimately, when you prove them wrong, you can look back and just say what you have learned. So for me, the important lessons I have learned is sharing is caring. Whether it's something on your psychological level where you are just feeling down because you have just been told by somebody that you should go back to your stove and cook for your maybe husband or partner, just share it with somebody, like seek out that help, share it with somebody you can trust. It's the only way to get it off of your mind. Always create a safe space so people can say, I don't understand. I emphasize this in my team and to everybody around me. It's if you don't get an answer, you are the only one hurting. And I've called those moments at the university where they ask an auditorium of 200 people, and do you understand? And you're afraid to be that one person saying, oh, I don't, please repeat or please explain. So yeah, make sure that especially if you're leading people, make sure that they feel comfortable, that they can say, I don't understand. A little bit tangent from all the lessons I have learned is always provide the why to all the tasks. Make sure people understand why they are being asked, so they are not directed, right? And in the end, like the most important lesson I have learned, because people did underestimate me, don't do the same mistakes as the people who I have encountered at the university did. Don't underestimate anybody in your team. They are smarter than you think, and hopefully, I hope my team is smarter than I am, because that means that I hired an awesome team. But they might have a backstory, and that's why they might be quiet, and then they might not necessarily be able to shine yet. And then in that instance, help them get out. So get out into the world and shine. They might have a backstory. Their backstory might be very similar to mine, and just sharing that, I'm able to share that after many years. But they might still be in the stage where they are not ready to share. Help them out. And yes, that's pretty much it from my little personal story. I guess we have some questions, comments. But before we get out, like I think we have a GSG booth you can visit. So I will just invite you to visit GSG. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
Thank you so much, Jana. That was super interesting. Thank you for sharing your journey, your lesson learned, your story. That was super interesting. And yes, you mentioned Global Savings Group, or GSG, as you shortly call it, is actually supporting our conference already for the second time this year, and super excited to have you with us and drop by definitely. And let's see if we have any questions to Jana. We have 4 minutes still to go. I just want to project some really nice comments and nice sessions. G, thank you. Thank you so much. So people are really thanking. I'm going to, yeah, absolutely great talk. Really important to me. I'm sure that there were so many, messages that you shared today that resonated with our people, and also how it is important that we speak about it, speak about challenges of actually being a woman in tech and what we have faced and how others could help them to stay in tech and to overcome these challenges that they might be also facing. Do we have any questions for Jana?
Looks like I was very clear.
Yeah, I think that since you got to share your personal story, I think that many people would love to connect maybe with you one on one, or to drop you some personal questions on LinkedIn. So I will make sure to share your profile. And here, actually, we have a question from Angela. What do you recommend to create build allyship when a space isn't always safe?
Good question. I would say know your surroundings a little bit. Make sure like your ally or the safe space might not start to be as somebody who is necessarily, say, your manager or somebody in a position of power, so to say. I would say just starting out as a small group. Like if you have somebody who you trust already, like at least one person, then start together. It just went on, like, try to grow it organically. Don't create it like a big thing on yourself, like I have to create a safe space. No, just like have one person
Yeah.
and the third one, and just try to grow it organically without feeling like it's your project now
Yeah.
and you're responsible.
Yeah, and share it with others, right? So they're
Exactly.
part of it. Thank you so much. This is a really great answer. Thank you, Jan. Thanks for being with us. We shared your LinkedIn. I'm also showing it on the screen. So I'm sure we'll save some lovely personal messages as well. Thanks for being with us and stay for the rest of the conference.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.